Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to 2020.
Oh, wow.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We are talking about New Year's resolutions today. So I know something that I, as a parent, always take a minute and look at, what could I be doing better?
Mhm.
What am I not doing that I think I should be doing? What are some ways to get our routines back under control? It's a good time to stop and think about
Mhm.
all of that. And of course, eating healthier,
Mhm.
losing weight, all the other.
Oh, yeah. All the
Resolutions
list of
that you have
things. Yeah,
every year.
exactly.
So we're hoping you could give us some advice
Mhm,
today on
mhm.
how to actually stick to those resolutions. And
Okay, well, I'll try my best. Lots of times, like you say, we all make resolutions, and sometimes they're so, you say, from now on, I'm not going to do
Right.
this. And then, 1 month or 2 weeks later, you're back to doing the very
Right.
thing you
right,
said you were going to do. So I would say the first thing families want to think about doing is taking baby steps. Okay, start with something small. Say, like, we're going to change a routine that really has been working. So we're going to put a routine in here. And so we'll see how it works for the next 14 days.
right,
And in 14 days, if something doesn't really work for you, then you can tweak it and change it versus this is how it's going to be forever. So,
Yeah.
Just take baby steps and feel okay to change things if they are not really working for you.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's one thing that you can do.
that's one good way. That's one good way.
Yeah, yeah.
What are some of the big parenting resolutions that you hear from
Mhm.
families in your classes?
Yeah, probably the biggest is just spending more time together as a
Mhm.
family, finding the time.
Mhm.
And you won't find it. It's not like it's hiding. You have to make the time.
Right.
And then stick to that. So I tell parents try to have, every week, just do something. It can be an indoor thing or an outside thing. It
Mhm.
doesn't need to cost any money. You can have a little countdown where it's like, day one, we're almost
Right.
there, and the kids are looking forward to doing it. It could just be a snowball fight or a, indoor movie or whatever it is that you might want to do, but something to look forward to.
Right.
And it could be very, it's a very small thing,
Right.
but it's very thoughtful, and kids like to do that.
Mhm. So family time is a big one, huh?
Family time is probably the big, on everybody's list,
Yeah.
because often the holidays are fairly hectic. You're there, but you're not there.
Right.
So really just cutting out all the, crazy and slowing down and spending time together is really what most people want to do.
Isn't that funny that this time during the holidays when you're supposed to have so much family time and so much togetherness, and then you get to the end of it and you're like, I feel like I didn't talk to anybody. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
I
2
don't know
minutes
my
here,
kids
yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
Yeah.
You had a lot of things to do, and then the shopping and the going
Yeah.
and the traveling, and all those things kind of get in the way of spending time. So slow
Right.
down and spend some time together doing just some family things with your small family there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you had some good tips.
Mhm.
You talked about taking baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
You had some other good tips on how to make some of these, whatever your resolution would be, how to make it happen, how to
Yeah.
make it doable.
Mm-hmm. One way might be with teenagers, you can make a contract, something they want to do. They, in the new year, contract out for that, and make an agreement. This is what you've decided to do. I'm here to support you, but you need to do A, B, and C so we can,
Right.
agree to that.
Right.
And having a written agreement and a calendar, just watching the progress could be helpful versus saying you need to do this for the duration, and we don't want to repeat it last year. Just
Right.
Make it more workable, make it very clear the expectation in the contract or on the calendar, and then notice the progress as children make them. Another neat thing you can do is let old acquaintance be forgot, so to speak. So go back and look at your Facebook, your Snapchat, your emails, Twitter accounts, and any negative people, delete them. Just stop, negative behavior or, reading negative things that kind of bring you down and bring your kids down, and do without that. It's not necessary. It's not needed. You need air and water and light, but you don't need to be on Snapchat. So reduce it or eliminate, especially negative talk or negative people that's been in your life. Leave them in 2019.
Gosh, that's a great suggestion for kids on social media, is to take a minute and go through and think about what makes me happy, what doesn't make me happy, and get rid of the negative.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, just reduce that. If you have to see those people in real life, well, yeah, but they don't need to live in your home 24/7.
Right.
Another thing you can do is look for the good stuff that costs no money. You know, we usually during the holidays we spend more than we want, more than we should.
Yeah.
And so looking for opportunities to spend less by recycling, upcycling things, and purging things. You know, you probably bought some stuff and you can't fit one more thing in that closet or one more thing in that drawer. Right. So getting rid of things and giving back to the community would be a good resolution to have, because definitely we all need a little bit more space, and if we bought some stuff we can afford to give back.
If Marie Kondo taught us anything, it's if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it.
Let it go. Usually Americans during the holidays consume a great deal of sugar, and kids especially. You know, from October on, it is just a sugar rush, right? So I would say, you know, in January, just make a resolution to cut down, or eliminate if you can, sugar from your diet, just to have your body regroup from that. Because that poundage that you'll put on and then carry and then put some more on the next year, it will stay with you. So even if you just make a resolution for, you know, a month or two to just decrease that sugar in your daily life and replace it with other positive sugars, such as fruits or other kind of, you know, less overwhelming sugars in your body, would be a good thing to do for kids, and a good resolution, because it's not very healthy for them. Right. After holiday blues, guys, most of us will have that, right? You know, it's kind of like a deflating thing, like you've done all this and you had the fun, and kids feel that way. And then it's cold and it's snowing and you're stuck inside or things like that. And so you may want to have some, you know, things to do that are costing money. It costs nothing, but you get to spend time and bring a little bit more fun into your life. So try to have kids think of those things and then just do them. It might be just having s'mores inside.
Well, a lot of these you can really combine, you know. I mean, if you're talking about having family dinners and just making them healthier is a great way to knock off a couple of those. And doing an activity after dinner. It's a great way to spend more family time together, and a great way to connect and beat some of those holiday blues all at once.
And recognizing that they're there. Don't try to act like they're not, because they're there. But we try to just keep pushing on. We go back to work, but be okay to say, yes, this is happening, and how can we confront that and deal with that? Because sometimes we get negative and we just, you know, just keep pushing forward versus really dealing with our emotions and our feelings and saying they are here. How can we address that? Especially if there's something that might really be going on with some of our kiddos, we want to make sure we recognize that and take a moment, a beat to recognize those things.
We've been playing a lot more board games.
Have you?
Yes. Which I love. But it's kind of a way to get out of that just routine of every day and something at least in the evenings. It's not driving a kid to a baseball practice or a volleyball practice and coming back home and eating dinner and doing homework and going to bed. You know, I mean, there's
something to break it up.
Something to break up that monotony.
Right. Yeah, we play chess all day long, so people come in the house and make moves. Hopefully they're going along with the rules. But so it's always sitting there, and people, you know, visiting my son, you know, he comes over and makes a move, and you know, so it's totally whatever fits your family. Don't try to make more work for yourself. That's not what we want to do.
Right. So we had a lot of people send in some parenting resolutions. So I want to tell you about these. I think we grabbed like the top 8 that we liked, and I want you to tell me how I can stick to those. some tips on how to actually make them happen. So the first one, we talked about this one a little bit, is that saying yes to more family time, and just making time to make that happen.
Well, in order to say yes to more family time, you have to say no to some things that take away from family time that really you don't need to.
Doing.
Well, you know, sometimes we'll get on the computer and 3 hours will pass. You know, just backing off of some technology a little bit, and screen time a little bit will allow you to have that time that you're looking for.
I know. It's amazing. I often wonder what we did before we had cell phones, because I feel like
probably talk to each other
on them. It's crazy. Reading was another one we liked. Is making making time to read more, reading more to your kids, and then reading more just together as a family.
Yeah. In my house, we would just have an hour where, we would stop doing, the lights would lower, we would turn things down, and everybody would read. Whether you read a cartoon or newspaper, whether you were reading a book, it doesn't really matter what you're reading, but you spend some time reading is always a good thing. Or having a family book club, like this is a book we're reading, and it can be for little people, and this book is for big people, and those conversations go on for whatever family gets together to talk about it, so that we're all reading the same book.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
That's
my
really
girls,
fun.
And we have the Boys Town catalog, so when my girls turn teenagers, what every parent should know about dating. The Simple Rules for Dating. My daughter was a book that was being read, and we all kind of checked in on that. So
that's interesting. I love that idea. So how do you handle with the younger kids who can't read? Are you reading more to them when you're picking the book?
Yeah, you can read to them, and definitely, I really love the book by Kathy Bai, where it's a holiday book, and the children write their own story. And we put pictures in there of the holiday, so that's a great book to get after the holiday. All the pictures that you take in, and that's a great book where kids are actually interacting with the reading, they're writing, reading. It's more engaging.
Right, and that's available on the Boys Town Press website.
It's a great book, and my kids love that too.
It's fun. All right, our next one is listen more.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know about everybody else, but a great opportunity for me to learn to listen to my kids is in the car. It's for me not to talk and the music not to go until people, and sometimes there was nothing said, and sometimes there was everything said, but leaving that opportunity to listen. Because when we got out into the world, we were not paying attention.
Right.
But in that car, you're captured, and I noticed more and more that
you're captured.
You can't get out. You can't get out. So, and there's no distractions. So you shut down all distractions on little trips or whatever. There's one child or all the kids, however you're going to do it too, so you can learn to listen to your kiddos. I usually pick one kid at a time just so I could just have that kid.
Capture them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The nice thing about that is you're not trying to make extra time to do this, or you're not trying to add anything to your schedule. You're really just adjusting the time that you've got and making the most of it.
Right.
Which, thinking about where you can find those opportunities, like in the car, is fantastic.
Yeah. You can put the timer on. It doesn't have to be the whole time. You don't have to put an hour with no music on, but you can put the timer on, and then there's no music. It is just an opportunity for people to share, and it's really miraculous how they will begin to talk to you.
Yeah. My kids would just say, "How much time is left?"
And I would say, as much time as
needed.
Yeah, as much time is there. And so, and when it was over, it was over. But over time, they began to use that time.
Right.
Initially, they actually looked how much time is, left. But after a while, they were like jabbering around where, the timer would go off, and they would still be talking to me. And I'm thinking, hey, the timer. No,
I'm done now. That's cute. I liked this one a lot. Teach more than I discipline.
Yeah.
I think that speaks very well to a lot of what Boys Town talks about, is that parents are teachers. And if we start thinking about ourselves more as teachers, less as disciplinarians, I think it changes your attitude and how you go about correcting behaviors.
Yeah. Well, here at Boys Town, we see discipline as a positive thing. We see discipline as a teaching opportunity. It is not a negative thing. Punishment, on the other hand, is a negative issue. However, I would definitely say that if parents begin to look at discipline as just a time to teach, then use it a lot, use it all the time, and not to give children discipline is not to teach them. Right. If you kind of think of it, it's the same thing. It is, when I correct you, that's not a negative thing.
Right.
That's just a time, teaching moment. And when I praise you, it's a teaching moment. All of them are teaching moments. It's how we communicate that. That's the key. How do you discipline? What kind of tone are you using? Are you looking at your children? Are you listening to them? So how you use your discipline, how you convey that discipline really is the difference between punishing kids and really teaching them.
Yeah. I love that. At one of your final Common Sense Parenting classes that I came to not so long ago, that was one of the parents' comments, is sometimes we forget that we are teachers, and that's our main job, is to be a teacher and to guide our kids, and just when things are difficult and
Right.
kids are difficult,
Mhm.
we can get in the discipline mode and forget that that's teaching is what we're really doing.
Yeah. Add it to your day like a spoonful
Yes.
of sugar.
Yeah.
You know, and that it isn't just keeping the lights on or keeping them clothed or those kind of things, but
Mhm.
that you are a teacher, the most important one, the most influential one that they'll ever have.
Mhm.
And so adding teaching moment to your day, whether it's that, in the car while you're listening, that's a disciplined moment that
Yeah.
you can be hearing kids and have an opportunity to set expectation and talk about values.
All right. Healthy eating. We talked about this one a little bit already, I think. And then yell less and stay calm.
Easier said than
That's
done,
good.
right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a skill that is honed over time. You can't go from yelling to not yelling.
Not yelling, right?
You have to kind of, again, make a reasonable expectation for yourself and have a strategy to use when that does happen to you, when you do step over and you want to step back. So I always tell parents, breathing.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to scream, breathe.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do both. Try to
Sure,
breathe because we stop breathing. We get really, uptight and start yelling. So step away and take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, just a few minutes, you might figure out something else to do versus yelling at kids. It's very simple. Step back and breathe. Do that for yourself. Think about yourself first. In order to help your child, you have to be able to be in a position to help them. And if you're yelling and screaming, you can't help them.
Right.
So I would definitely say, step away. Just take a little step back, even when your child is doing whatever, and breathe. And you might find that your brain starts working and you start thinking about how to better discipline them.
Right. And just by taking that small action, you could really change a lot.
Yeah.
Just really focusing on that. Am I getting to the point where I'm going to be really upset?
Exactly.
Step back and breathe.
Wonderful. So many mommies that I'm finding in our classes, self-care is not something we're doing very well. We talk a lot about it. There's lots of books on it. We're not doing it.
Right. Yeah.
And you really have to do that for yourself. And parents, they're so hectic, and schedules and technologies that's, really intruded in our lives. We really have to take every day and do something for self, whatever that might be. A Zen moment.
Yeah. That's a great resolution. Take every day and find a moment. Improving routines. We talked about that one a little bit. I like this one too, getting everybody to help out around the house.
Yeah. I'm not your maid.
How do you do that, Bridget?
Well, assignment of a task, that everybody gets a task and very clearly identifying what the task is. My son's version of clean was not my version of cleaning his room. Yeah. So I think I really had to put it on a piece of paper, say, this is what you need to do. These are the things you need to get to clean the room. This is what you should do to clean the room. This is how I want it.
Right.
Okay. And then set an expectation. On Wednesday, there was a free day. If you wanted to destroy that room, that was his business. But again, on Thursday, I'll have to deal with that room. So I just shut the door. And, there was no argument over why is this room like this every day. So picking your battles, so to speak, there's a, super clean day, chore day on Saturday in my household where everybody's cleaning, we're cleaning out refrigerators, we're doing things like that. And the rest of the week is for him to keep maintenance of his room. And then he'd have a free day where I'm not pestering him about that room.
Right.
So setting some expectations about chores, making them very clear and making them reasonable. Yeah. And I just don't clean up after kids. My son knows how to wash his clothes, and rightfully so.
When you're going from when you're going from doing a lot for your kids to wanting them to really help out, I think that baby steps is a really good thing to keep in mind there, because I think a lot of times parents will come up with a whole big chore chart and but just pick one. Just pick one and start with one and master that first.
And maybe even break down a chore. I mean, when they were little, just gather your clothes and put it in the hamper. Eventually, as they got older, separating them out, put them in the washer, being able to washer, those steps toward the desired behavior. So breaking down the chore might be a good thing when kids can't really do the whole thing, but they can help out.
Right. Well, that helps significantly with my littlest. When I tell her to clean her room, it's an argument and it's a fight. And then it's, you have 3 things to do. Pick up the clothes that are on the floor, wipe off what's on the tables, clean the tables, and make your bed. Those 3 things are really simple to, break down and easier for her to wrap her head around that, I think.
Yeah. Well, coming off of the holiday break and then going back to school and back to routines, sometimes it's hard for parents and back to doing chores or whatever the case may be. And so I get into a routine. I really tell parents, try to keep that routine going. Sometimes kids will like lock in and slow down and putter around. So I say, wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, whatever. And after the 10 minutes over, move to the next thing. Keep that going so that kids don't kind of hijack your routine.
Right.
I don't really want to do this, so I'm just going to slow myself down. And then when it gets time for now, the fun thing is there because you try to sandwich those routine between fun things. You say, well, you still have that.
Can't do it.
You have your you had a toothbrush, and so you can't be over here doing this one thing.
Right.
So some kids can get the message without you yelling or arguing or nagging or trying to cajole them into doing whatever you want them to do.
Right. Right. All right. Let's see if we had any more.
My
Oh
gosh.
yes. This one's very good. No more mom guilt.
Tell me more about this mom guilt. Did you write that down? What is that
That was
about?
not me that wrote that.
Why are moms feeling guilty?
I think that just coming to work every day,
Mhm.
leaving your kids at home,
I
or
see.
all the ways that we're not living up to the type of parent that we think that we should be.
Let that super mom thing go. Just let it go. Talk to other moms, and you'll get a reality check on. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good in regards to it. And women who are working full-time jobs and going home and taking care of whole households, that's another job. It's like 2 jobs, let alone being able to take care of yourself. So make some reasonable expectations for you, and don't let guilt run your life. And don't compare yourself to other people. Sometimes you have those other super mommies out there and they're doing all these things. You're like, oh, I should do that. No.
And behind the scenes, those super moms are not,
Yeah, that's it. Who's a no? But you're not them. Maybe they can do that, but don't compare yourself. It'd be like comparing your children to each other. That's inappropriate. Why would you compare yourself to other people? And guilt has never helped. If it was helpful, I would put it in a book and say, read that chapter on guilt. You need to feel more guilty. So no.
That's great. All right. And then this one, of course, I think is a great year-round limiting screen time for the whole family, not just for the kids.
Yeah. Start out at certain times of the day that there's no screens at all, like at dinner time, study time, maybe have breakfast together, and start there. And then you can expand upon that. You'll know that, kids will be more willing if you don't start with none at all or, cutting back like it only appears. But if you already have that in your household, there are some families that I know come to our classes, there's only an hour of screen time.
Yeah.
And that is working. If you're already there, great. If you're like got 13 hours of screen going on, you may want to kind of pare that down a little bit at a time.
And they make it so easy to track now that it's if you're not tracking screen time or if you don't have a screen time set for your kids, find out how to figure. I know on our phones I can go in and look at how much screen time my kids are spending. Just looking at that's kind of eye-opening sometimes.
Right. Well, I went to a conference and, good behavior, whether it's on screen or whether it's in real life, you have to train kids to do that. If you're doing a third shift and you're not there and kids are using screen, how are you going to control that?
Right.
So you have to teach them how to follow instructions, respect the rules, those kind of things over everything, not just screen. So when I tell you you have that much time and you need to go along with that rule, and if you want to ask for more time or earn more time, then you need to ask permission. So it's about the social skills that kids need to learn in order to manage the screen or their lives, period.
Right.
That's really what it's all about. Yeah.
I tell you what, we implemented screen time for our kids, and it's been fantastic from the point that when they want to earn more screen time, we can get them to do anything. It's fantastic. So, is your homework done? Is your room picked up? If they are, then okay, well, go pick up the bathroom, and then we'll give you a little bit more time. Yeah. So
yes,
great. Kids want it, and
nothing. Limiting that screen time, nothing bad is going to happen if you limit the screen time. Only good stuff. So definitely, I would say doing that is probably on the top of everybody's list. Do we follow through? Probably not. So have some check-in. How are we doing? Take the pulse of your family in regards to screen time or whatever goals you might have. Every 30 days, where are we at with that? And every week a family meeting on what's going wrong or right with what rules we put in place.
Mm-hmm. Another one that's not on here that a friend of mine was doing was just making their home a kinder place.
Oh, I love
And so they were putting up, just nice things to say to each other. And then they had some family rules on here's how we speak to each other in this house. I thought that was such a great resolution.
Wonderful?
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I visited a home where the mom had stenciled all these positive,
Oh, yeah.
on this, walls,
Yeah.
as kind of a trim to the,
Mhm.
and then she would change it every year. I thought, wow, I'm impressed by you. I probably would have been doing that. I was so busy reading it, but it's always right there. And then they say, well, if you don't have it everywhere, but just a wall or, where you put these positive affirmations or statements or things like this is who we are, this is what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that really gives kids a sense of, what your values are.
Family, yeah. And I like too that all the, everybody could add to it how they wanted to add to it. So, I don't know. I think that was very sweet.
Yeah, I think being kind is really underrated. It's, just like praise. And so, and being kind gives up parents opportunity to praise kids.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we don't do it enough. We should do it more to each other, not just, let's go help some needy person, but being kind to each other. If you can do that, you might be kind to other people outside your home.
Right. Between siblings too. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
Great to help. I don't know. Hopefully help the arguing and bickering that sometimes comes out.
Want to earn screen time?
Right.
Do something nice for your little.
Be nice. Yes.
Kindness would be good for you.
Kindness is good. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody that submitted some of those New Year's resolutions. We hope you can stick to them.
Yeah.
And like Bridget said, check in about a month?
Yeah. Just
check in about a month and check in with your family and see how things are going, see what you need to adjust or change.
Yeah. Just take the pulse of your family, see how you guys are doing, and don't set expectations that are not reasonable for you or your family. It's your family, not the people next door.
Right. Well, and it might be going from everyone having their own resolution to, okay, can we just stick to one as a family that we can all help out each other with.
It would be good to have a family, resolution versus every individual. Of course, you can have your own, but as a family, we always should be looking for what can we do together, to become closer, to have more positive time together, and to learn what each other needs in their lives.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, great. Thank you so much, Bridget. Appreciate your time today. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.